Hello, I'm so excited to share this video with you today and some recent findings. I know that a lot of us are looking at Pinterest and looking at social media and just looking at our strategies in general when it comes to our blogs, our small businesses, and we're really evaluating with AI and all of these kind of new things going on. It's a lot to take in, and we've seen a lot of Google changes, and then we've recently seen some Pinterest changes. So I wanted to just kind of quickly share my thoughts, my insights, and also talk about a very new finding that is something that I have done for many, many years for clients and watched and tested. But more so in the past, probably 3 months, I'm seeing more and more data to really support what I'm about to share with you when it comes to keywords on Pinterest. And as I say to anybody that I'm talking about or in any trainings that I'm doing, there are a lot of great strategists out there, and I know that other strategists have other strategies. That's the great thing about this is you can get to your destination in a variety of ways. The journey is what's fun, but I am sharing what I have seen and what I have tested. I never share any strategies that are not data backed. And I also like to look at a good sample of data across a variety of accounts. So travel, Etsy shops, food blogs, anything like that. I'm testing data across things like that. So I do always kind of want to preface videos by saying that there are other strategies and there may be people who don't agree with this, and that's completely fine. That's the beauty of this. But I'm sharing my findings and my data-backed findings. So I wanted to first talk about AI and kind of what that looks like with Pinterest. I know that we have all seen a lot of AI kind of spam in our feeds, and it's frustrating for sure when you're a creator that's creating good quality content. And so Pinterest recently rolled out the AI generative or AI generated tags on images. And so you'll start to notice that a lot of AI generated images have an AI tag at the bottom, which is a great thing. And I think that as their kind of crawlers and indexers are able to identify more AI generated content, this is going to be better, especially for those of us who are not using AI generated images and who are taking our time and putting effort and money into high quality photographs and images for our pins. And so, not to say that all AI is bad, but I do think that when you have a visual search engine such as Pinterest, and you have certain accounts that are just spamming with a bunch of AI generated images that are not high quality, having that tag is very beneficial. And it's only beneficial, it's going to only be more and more beneficial for those of us who are creating that good organic content. And so again, not to say that all AI is bad or anything like that, but I do think that on a visual search engine such as Pinterest, we want to be very careful that we are delineating AI generated content versus content that, we have sat and photographed and spent our time on, especially when it comes to things like food or even home decor, fashion, even travel, because we want to set expectations for a user when they come to our site that when you make a recipe or when you travel to a destination, the photo is going to match kind of what you see or what you get, or at least kind of be semi close. And so that is one thing that I wanted to address. One thing that I'm seeing a lot of is if you have images, let's just say we'll just use the recipe food space as an example. If you have made a dish, of course you want to have, that beautifully plated image and a background and things like that for your blog post, but also use your phone. Like use your phone and snap some images, snap what it looks like on your dinner table, snap even a photo of you holding the dish if you want to take a short video of you eating the dish, whatever you're comfortable with. Anything like that real life content is huge, and it is very, very helpful for Pinterest. I'm also seeing this across our clients on Facebook. Anything that really signals to the end user that I am a real person, this is a real life, recipe, travel, again, you walking down a beach, something like that is not perfectly staged or perfectly poised, but is real life. Even images of your grocery store haul, your ingredients in your cart for that dish, or things like that, you packing for that trip. Something that really signals to a user they can look at it and go, okay, I know a real person created this. So that's going to be very important. I think the more that we move forward of yes, perfectly polished images or plated or staged images are great, but the more real that you can show when it comes to these platforms such as Pinterest, Facebook, things like that, the better. The next thing I want to share with you And I will be very quick on this because there's still a lot of data coming out on this, and I'm still testing a lot of things. But this is a very kind of interesting perspective because I know that there are some strategists who teach that every single pin needs to have a different title, different description, different keywords, all of this, and you need to spend all of this time using all of these expensive tools to find all of these keywords. And here is what I'm finding, and really what I've seen over the past decade as a Pinterest strategist, but even more so, very solidified in the past 3 months. And also, I can't publicly share kind of where this comment, this thread is coming from, but in some kind of back end conversations with people directly from Pinterest, there has been discussion of how they crawl sites and how they really look at content and how they're matching content to pin descriptions, pin titles, things like that. And so there's a lot of kind of discussion around, well, when somebody looks at a pin title or a pin description, it needs to be content from the post, from the page where they're going. And so I know that there are some strategists that teach like using even ChatGPT to generate new titles, new descriptions for every single pin. And so that's not something that I've ever really taught because to me, that's not a great user experience. When a user reads a pin, sees a pin, sees a pin title, they want to see that kind of match up when they go to the blog post because it's just that correlation of, okay, I read this, I saw this, it matches what I searched for, and then I go to the blog and I'm finding that. Now, not to say that you can't target additional keywords such as, we'll just say, easy dinner recipe or budget travel tips or things like that in a pin description. You can absolutely do that. But when it comes to rewriting every single pin title and every single pin description, and really trying to target this wide, huge, vast variety of keywords to, I don't want to say game the Pinterest system because I don't feel like that is what is being done. Although there are some spam accounts that are doing that, but in general, when we're talking about this, to essentially, try to rank for a ton of keywords for, let's just say, a specific, crock pot chicken recipe, we want to be kind of careful with that. We don't want to get too broad. We also don't want to get too kind of far out there from what the content is. And so we want to be careful with that. If you are changing every single pin title, every single pin description, and you are using descriptions and titles that don't match headings, paragraphs, sentences, keywords, things like that in your blog, then I would suggest one of two things. I would suggest editing the blog post and adding that content in, because if you're using it on Pinterest, it should essentially be able to be added into the blog post in some way, shape, or form. But also too, looking at your blog post and not necessarily focusing so heavily on, okay, does this match a keyword trend on Pinterest, but can I use a heading from the blog post? Can I use other paragraph sentences from the blog post for my pin description, for my pin title, and really pulling that content out? Because ultimately, and I've said this for many, many years, if your blog post is optimized for SEO, then your blog post is optimized for Pinterest because people are searching on Pinterest as a visual search engine like they would search on Google. And even more so now, just due to Google changes and things like that. So I would suggest if you are changing every title, changing every description, really trying to pull in a ton of keywords leading to, a ton of different pins. I know that a fresh pin strategy is something that some people recommend, a fresh pin only strategy. Obviously, my strategy is you need fresh pins, yes, but you also need to revive older pins and redistribute them, potentially update them based on new content from your blog post, like we're talking about here, update the blog post. And so this may be a shift for some of you, looking at, okay, does the content match what they're going to find or what the crawlers are going to find in my blog post? Again, I'm not saying, because I want to be very clear on this, that you can't add in additional keywords when it comes to especially a pin description. But instead, what I would like you to do is add in keywords that are more targeted towards kind of generic. So if we're looking at, we'll just use the chicken recipe, a chicken, slow cooker chicken recipe. Can we use easy weeknight dinner in there, or easy weeknight meal, or frugal weeknight meal in the description? But the description as a whole still matches content they're finding in your blog post. And then also, are we looking at the blog post and saying, okay, How long has it been since it was updated? Can I add these keywords into my blog post as well? Because obviously, a lot of times that will also help SEO. So, kind of looking at that, I think that that's sometimes something that we forget a little bit when we're looking at Pinterest strategy. We're only looking at pins. And so, I want you to one, look at your boards. And I talk a lot about this in my course and updating boards and creating boards and things like that. But I also want you to look at your content, and I want you to continually update your posts and continually create new posts and content and things like that. But I really do suggest that if you are one of those that are kind of writing all of these new descriptions using especially AI, to be kind of careful with that. And to just kind of watch, because I do feel like Pinterest is probably going to start cracking down on some of that in the near future. And I would hate to see you caught up in anything like that. So, I wanted to share my insights. I have been testing this again many, many years now, but really extensively over the past 3 months. And by far, pins that have descriptions, that have titles, that match content in that blog post that they're leading to are winning by far, versus pins that the descriptions are completely rewritten to target new keywords that are not in the blog post. And when I mean that, I'm not saying keywords that are completely unrelated. They can still be related keywords, but the content that you're seeing in the pin description doesn't match any content in the blog. And so I would just be very careful with that. I would caution you on that. Again, formulate your own strategy. I'm just sharing my recommendations. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. You can find me on my website at AllisonRLancaster.com. Thank you.